is the KABC Legal Show, taking your calls on all things legal. Call now, 1-800-222-5222.
Welcome to Ledger on the Law. Attorney Ledger, your host, where I'm often wrong but never in doubt. Good afternoon, California. It's Saturday, April 13th, and your road to justice starts right here on 790 KABC. Grab a glass of vino. It may only be 1 o'clock, but it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and we're here to talk to you about everything legal today. Talk you off that legal ledge. If you have any legal problem, you can call in at any time for the next 2 hours. 800-222-5222. The call-in number, 800-222-KABC, California. We have the best and brightest attorneys in the country that come in to help you with your legal troubles. Keep in mind, this is an open forum. We never want you to reveal any confidences over the air, but you can start your questions, and if we can't answer something because it's confidential, of course, we'll put you in touch with those same lawyers throughout the week. I want to say hello to my right-hand man, Phil G. It's been a while since I've seen you.
I know. It's good to be back, isn't it?
Yeah, we had a holiday, and my wife is pregnant, as most our listeners know, and she had a little complication, which kept me out last week, but she's on the mend. It's amazing what 7 days of bed rest will do for you.
Right. I don't remember what 7 days of bed rest was like.
Well, it was great because you know, we're in a new age where, you know, the men are supposed to be pregnant as well, so I had 7 days of bed rest as well.
Did you really?
Yeah, so I'm well rested and ready for a great show. We have one of the foremost trial attorneys in the country, Thomas Girardi, who's going to come on in our first segment, Phil. This is a trial lawyer of trial lawyers. He's a champion of justice, has more awards than there is enough paper to write the awards on.
Yeah. So
I'm really excited to have Tom Girardi on the show. He's been on in the past. He actually flew in back from a very large conference where he was awarded a very prestigious award, flew back in for the show, and I see him through the glass. He's on deck. I just really want to thank Tom for being here. Later in the show, we have our resident workers' compensation attorney, Alan Gervey, who always lights up the phone lines because so many consumers out there are hurt on the job, and they just don't know what to do. The common theme that I hear over and over is that they're hurt on the job, and they don't want to raise the issue because they're afraid of being terminated. So I kind of want to go into that with Alan Gervey. And later in the show, Stephen R. Golden, who's our resident real estate attorney, is going to help people stay in their homes. You know, we have still a financial crisis in this country, and especially in California. A lot of people are underwater, and so Stephen's always here to give some great advice.
That's right.
But, you know, as we usually do, Phil, I want to go into some topics in the news, and one thing that just hit my radar, which was extremely upsetting to me, was Audrey Pott. She's a young female, 15 years old, commits suicide after she was allegedly raped, and then those photos of her being raped were posted on social media.
Well, and this is what I don't understand, and it seems like it's happening in the news over and over again. We saw it with the Steubenville case, which we can get to, but there's like this callousness about rape in the teenage community now.
And not only is it the rape itself, it's the photographs that are taken and then posted. I mean, this is insanity.
It's as if it's the treatment that they deserve almost. That's what they're saying. They're saying there should be there's nothing wrong with doing this. I'm going to show it to you. Why would you arrest me for something like this? And it is infuriating and makes you wonder where we're failing.
And I have a daughter who's 12 years old, and this is scary. She's not at the age where she's out with her friends at night, but clearly high school children are out drinking, and most of these cases have surrounded some form of drinking or unconscious females because of drinking. 800-222-5222 is the call number. 800-222-KABC. We want to hear what you think about Audrey Pott, who committed suicide after being raped, allegedly. And we also want to hear about what is not alleged any longer, that students in Steubenville who were convicted of raping a young girl and then posting obnoxious stuff. Before we go on, we have callers already holding, and we have a lot of guests on the show today. So I want to take Rod from Yorba Linda. Rod, welcome to Ledger on the Law.
Hi, how you doing today?
We're doing great. How can we help you?
Good. I'm in litigation right now, and my next hearing is a second motion for summary judgment. They were granted a summary judgment once. We went back and reconsidered, or filed a motion for reconsideration. They reconsidered. Now we're at a second motion for summary judgment. Now my question is that we went to arbitration, and their last and final offer was $7,000 at arbitration.
Okay, Rod, let me just interrupt you just for a second. Are you represented by an attorney?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so just keep in mind, this is a radio show, and there are thousands and thousands of people listening to the show. Right. So I don't want you to reveal any confidential information, and I'm hesitant to even speak to you on the air because you're already represented. Let's not talk about your case specifically. Let's talk in hypotheticals, okay?
Okay.
So you have a $7,000 offer on a case, but what are your injuries?
But now there's $100,000 on the table.
Okay, that's a nice little change.
My question is if they've come that far and we've litigated this far, is it worth Katie bar the door and just let's take this thing to trial, or is settlement always a better option than trial?
Well, I like the way you phrase the question, and that's so general that we can clearly answer it on the air, even though you have a specific case. If you have an attorney, as you said you had, as far as your specific case is concerned, always go to your attorney and seek the legal counsel that you are paying him or her for. But as far as this is a good general question, Phil. A lot of people want to know, where do I stop? Sometimes it's like being at the craps table in Las Vegas, and you're ahead, but you're worried that if you throw the dice one more time, you may crap out. Yeah. And that can happen, Rod. That happens in all cases.
Sure.
So what you want to do is just seek an analysis of how you're arriving at the $7,000 initially, and then how you arose to the $100,000 mark. Oftentimes, settlements are postured based on specials, which are current medicals and out-of-pocket expenses, and a multiple of those, considering pain and suffering and future medicals and specials that may be incurred. So you have to kind of match the injury with the settlement, and your attorney is really the best person to address the specific facts.
Emery, I got to ask, in a situation like this, is it possible that the other law firm just is upping the settlement because they don't want to go to trial and it's about to hit trial?
Absolutely. It's always a negotiation, and it truly is a poker game. And that's why I'm interested. Tom Girardi will be on next. His take, he's one of the best in the world when it comes to these type of negotiations. And so we'll pin him on this question, Rod. I'm going to drop you off the line because I don't want to go into too much detail with an active attorney and an active case. But what I will promise you is when Tom Girardi comes on, so stay tuned, and he's going to come on in the next segment, I'm going to readdress your question in the general nature, okay? Thanks for the call, Rod. We got Jane holding. Jane, we'll get to you after the break. Phil, let's get back to our story just before we have to go to a break.
Sure.
What's your take on this as a layman?
Well, I got to say, when I was reading the story, the part where she said she Facebooked the day that it happened, and she Facebooked that it's the worst day ever, right? And then 8 days later, she commits suicide. I have two girls that I consider my stepdaughters. So one's 18, one's 15, and the 18-year-old's getting ready to go to college. And high school and college are where these things seem to be running rampant. And I'm scared to death. So when I hear something like this, and then the kids in Steubenville, they're only getting a year in jail, and they're being
one got 3 years.
Oh, maybe one got 3. I don't. It looked like 1 year, but either way, how is that enough for doing something that's so terrible that a 15-year-old girl takes her own life?
That's unbelievable. 800-222-5222. The call-in number, 800-222-KABC. We want to hear what you have to say about these. It seems like daily news stories where children, kids, teenagers are being accused of rape, number one, and we even have a water polo player at UCLA. He's being accused of rape. I want to talk about that after the break. Why? He's only been accused of rape, and the school is suspending him. Whatever happened to innocent until proven guilty in our country. That takes place in a court of law, but UCLA feels different. I want to get to that story after the break. Coming up, we have the legendary Tom Girardi. You're listening to Ledger on the Law, 790 KABC. I'll be right back after a short break.